Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. I am greeting you here from sunny sunshine here in Florida, and here I'm in my car. I still want to enjoy the weather. I still want to go to the beach, and so I'll try to make another video, and it's has to do, of course, with what we touch upon in my previous video. It has to do with the intracorporeal nano communication network, and also with the mag what is the mag phenomenon. And there's so much science, there's so much proof how these these interesting things, those jabs, how they contain millions of undisclosed bioengineered smart entities that respond to electromagnetic signals, and they're highly toxic. Remember, we're sound, light, frequency, vibration. Even our aura energy field, right? We radiate frequency, signals and so on. But these things actually, that's how they're damaging our aura energy field and the DNA, our hologram, right? Our mind and so on, because these nanobots, nanotechnology of the negative faction, right? They are disrupting the natural flow of your meridians, of your chakras, of your energy field, right? It actually it hijacking your dreams, your thinking, right? It affects your moods, and it's a very highly advanced AI, very highly advanced nanotechnology, okay? And it is self-assembling, self-spreading, and it's they're activated by internal and external conditions, right? So it means how we have inner conflicts within us, right? So very important to calm down, to meditate, do the inner work. And then external conditions, are we in a beautiful clean environment outside nature, or we are in buildings or somewhere there is too much of that Wi-Fi, 5G, and people are drinking, smoking their own drugs, and engage in horrible activities, right? So this all, it's like it's all being registered, right? So not only organically through our aura energy field, right, but these nanosensors that we talk about, right, and so on. This nanotechnology is for surveillance, of course, and other things, right? It's also as kind of surveilling us and monitoring us as well, but it's doing outside. Some of the negative one is doing outside of our will and outside of our permission. So that's why we need to align ourselves with the law of one. We need to start being responsible for our thoughts, feelings, and emotions, right? Command our space and go within our hearts. Ask for prayers for forgiveness, for compassion. Ask for healing, okay? And for guidance, because here, if we're in this kind of zone, because that what happened to me, I could, before I was tortured and so on and received that black goo, I could meditate, I was flying. I mean, I had a very good aura energy field. I was doing yoga, and after what happened to me, right, I ended up in electrostatic body, in that black goo, in fallen tree of life, and I was not able to connect to God, to source, and it was very it was scary for me. It was very tragic. Okay, also remember that the transmission is happening through sweat, saliva, semen, and other excretions. So that's why some kind of relationships and so on, this can how this is being spread. So being responsible, very important, and know, right, have that knowledge, very important. And what else I wanted to say? So those are self-assembling those are nanoparticles. They're introduced to the body, right? The overproduction of these filaments happens via sweat, saliva, semen, urine, feces, and other excretions, and then they are shedding and spreading these kind of seed-like exosomes. So instead of chromosomes, right, you have like some of these exosomes. And even in the brain, because the graphene oxide passes through the blood-brain barrier, you have artificial artificial neurons, okay, that is being formed in the brain. We talk about the Nazi Neuralink, okay. and then they redevelop and regrown in ideal environment. So what does it mean ideal? Well, it has to do with conditions also. It has to do, I guess, the condition of your body, your immunity, what kind of thoughts are you generating, what kind of emotions are you generating, what kind of activities are you being involved, are you working, are you here for others, right? It's all now monitoring you, and it's sensing you, or it's censoring you, okay? And all these modulations happening and stimulation, and it's modifying you. It actually modify your behavior if you are not conscious, if you're not mindful, right? You're constantly under the influence of drugs and alcohol, right? You have all these addictions, you're not working on yourselves, you're not connecting to your heart, you're not calling upon your soul, right? This nanotechnology with the AI can overtake your consciousness, and you become pretty much robot, you become a zombie, you become automaton. Okay, so there is so much science, there's so much intelligence, the science and information behind it. Is intelligent, self-replicating AI nano species. Okay, and we talk about the gels, the hydrogels, and so on. People talk about a long time ago. And the polymer chains, they are hydrophilic and are sometimes found as a colloidal gel in which water is the dispersion medium. Okay, so the hydrogels, they contain 99% water, and they are natural synthetic polymers. Okay, and the hydrogels also possess a degree of flexibility very similar to natural tissue due to their significant water content. And they may be used to encapsulate lipid nanoparticles, which are biocompatible, biodegradable, and porous. Anyway, there's so much science, guys, behind this. And also, I remember there was a certain doctor there in West Point in New York in 2018. He had a presentation there, and there was the elite, right? He was I could just read the energies. I'm not going to describe it, but I know what I'm talking about, because people here want a name, and they want the name, and they want the pictures, and they want like the actual data, right? But if you read energy, I don't need any of that stuff, right? And he was talking about how the DNA scalar, and through the hydrogel, right, how you can start programming the DNA, and how you can even insert false memory, right, via the CRISPR technology, gene editing technology. So, and it was 2018. So the military knows. So this is nothing new under the sun. Okay, this is for them. But the elite, they know very well what they've been dealing with, and what they're doing, and how they're modifying humanity. They themselves been modified and groomed and taken to those off-planet Niburian military bases. Okay, they've been hijacked. Their consciousness hijacked. They have DNA Enki technology or overlays. Okay, and there are black magicians there, and this is pretty much they become like robots, or they're executing agenda of those negative aliens. They're doing automatically, and they pretty much they just kind of being desensitized. They're under hypnosis, and for them this is normal. They think this is normal, so that's why that needs to be stopped. And we have a project for them. They need to be deprogram, rewired, especially the elite. They still kind of have some heart, and I talk about the Pleiadian Nazi, right? We're kind of neutralizing the energies of the elite. And I have a project for my cell group who ended up in those dark projects and committing horrible crimes. So here we're explaining, right? We explain the MEC phenomena, the media access control, right? And that these people who, that's people, right, with this thing, right? We emit MEC addresses over Bluetooth wireless network, okay? And pretty much it corresponds to it's not corresponding to any electronics manufacturer. It means it's unknown. The manufacturer identifier is unknown. Okay, and then we talk about the intracorporeal wireless network of nanocommunication. And the purpose of it is for biomedical uses, facilitate the control of physiological parameters, heart rate, blood pressure, glucose level, respiratory rate, and also neuromodulation, neurostimulation, interaction with the function of vital organs. We talk about the heart, the brain, the lungs, okay, measurement and interaction of neurotransmitters, alteration of brain electrical activity. We talk about the nanonodes, right, as nanosensors, and there are nanometer scale objects. It's extremely tiny particles, okay, and we talk about that they facilitate the propagation of wireless signals, right, of the intra-corporeal network. And of course, the material that is being used in these things is the graphene oxide, okay, and it kind of travels through, you know, the entire body structure, I mean through the veins and so on, and they form the graphene quantum dots. And you know, the graphene oxide is that has superconductive properties, okay, and it is reduced to nanometer scale, and it acquires quantum property, which gives the ability to propagate signals of pulses as if it were antenna. So it's the wireless communication, and it's been demonstrated that graphene is capable of absorbing electromagnetic radiation, amplifying signals from gigahertz to terahertz, okay, and to achieve the desired goal or propagation, right? To me, like if the military, if you're a star seed, you know, highly advanced souls and so on, they can easily, well, through torture, they can turn you into terrorist, into black magician. They can turn you, that's the DARPA, yeah. They turn you into satanist. They can turn you into, you know, Islam, you know, Muslim. They can convert you, and but also the horror terror CIA operative, okay. So this is what they do with the radio frequency signal, right? The 5G tower, 6G, 7G, fluoride and water, you know, the electrostatic transmissions, transductions there, especially the military bases hooked to alien military bases, hooked to Nibirum military bases, the Nibiran electrostatic transduction, NTE. Okay, so we were in a quarantine zone in a prison planet, and they were running based on mathematics, all these draconian measurements, right, and destroying humanity and destroying this planet, and you know, taking resources from the planet and from, you know, children and from people, humanity, and so on. They were messing up with our brainwave frequencies, and they were living off of our kundalini, living off of our chakras, if you're a star seed, right, and turning us into robots. They pretty much, they steal our DNA, or, you know, they copy it, forfeit, and then they create their highly advanced technologies, and then they're plugging us into AI. They're giving us all kinds of implants, right, the hydrogel, you know, giving us holographic inserts. They're giving us alien implants for alien mind control. And you know, those who, like I said, you know, the elite, I mean, we've been hybridized, you know, the Christos Essene, also Templars, you know, hybridized with reptilians, right? They are priming us to pretty much be you know, part of the elite, to be the assassin, be the spy, part of the espionage, and then the proxy Israel, right, the Israeli intelligence, and committing horrible crimes, you know, drug running, gun running, money laundering, porn, you know, child trafficking, also on the galactic scale, and money laundering and so on. So just pornography, right? Those guys are watching porn. So they're engaged in very unethical practices. And guess what? If you get the nanobots, nanotechnology, right, the AI replicates everything, or the mirror neurons, right, they replicate everything, and that's what you become, right? You open yourself, you know, to these negative entities, and then your body becomes portal for those dark forces. And you know, we talk about how the negative entities, they're hooked to your energy field, right? They are hooked to the meridian system, and they're controlling you, they're manipulating you, they're siphoning energy out of you, and you know, they can even actually cut you from your dream state, and they can you know, snatch your soul. There's a soul capturing technology they have as well. And And then we talk about the micro nanosensors. Okay, so they're monitoring physiological parameters, collecting electrical signals, metric, quantitative evaluations of in the human body. So, and they're targeting organs, right? Especially, like I said, the cardiac, arterial system, brain tissue, due to their ability they overcome the blood-brain barrier. That's the graphene oxide, right? The graphene, the graphene nanosheets, right? And the carbon nanotubes, right? They just can pass through the blood-brain barrier. And we talk about the software that is being created, like the false axiom, right? The software, the Nazi Neuralink, and then of course, you know, you're hooked to the cloud, the draconian, fleet, and they have satellites, and they have quantum supercomputers, and you're walking AI on a battlefield. You're executing their agenda, direct programming. Those guys they don't have no will. They cannot think for themselves, right? They're just robots, automatons. So, and this is like you see how it's being all done, right? We talk about the superconductivity, right? The capacity of that graphene oxide. It becomes a field effect transistor, and it's it's possible to detect the electrical pulses of the organ, and which is in contact with the heart, brain, and the lungs, and so on. And it also interacts by emitting electrical discharges, okay, because it acts as supercapacitors due to the piezoelectric properties, okay. And then of course, they're giving signals at the appropriate frequency. It could trigger discharge operations, right? Discharge operations, it means you can experience all kinds of horrible symptoms, respiratory problems, choking, fainting, arrhythmia, heart attack, okay, or stroke. Okay, so, and then also we'll talk about that the neurons are also being stimulating their electrical activity, right? And they create artificial axons and influence the segregation of neurotransmitters, and that's how can control your psyche, or they get into your psyche, into your brain. They can alter your behavior, your thinking, right? Your conduct. And then people are judging physically, right? They want the physical evidence, okay, and not understanding that this guy is under drugs. He's drugged. He's just totally mind controlled, right? It can be a highly advanced soul that is extremely suffering, right? Is in excruciating pain, and those guys are whatever put in prison, or they're homeless, they're on the street, or they are put to death. Yeah. So that's why I'm doing whatever I'm doing here. This is what I'm doing. That's why we have to read the energies. We have to expand our consciousness. We have to educate ourselves. And then the micro or nano router. So they collect and process the data obtained through nanonodes and nanosensors, right? They're propagating the information to the micro-nano interface, so that the data is transmitted from the inside to outside of the body, but also from outside to the inside. So that's why it's so important, right? I mean, these, the neurotransmitters and everything, the sensors, the nanobots, nanotechnology, right? It's sensing everything, what is inside the body, and also what comes from outside to the inside, and what is inside the body, and how that can be transmitted to the outside of the body. So it receives the signals from the micro-nano interface, decoding, routing it to retransmit it to the rest of the elements of the intracorporeal network. And these routers consist of micro antennas or plasmonic nano antennas, transmission circuits, encoding, decoding of signals according to MAC protocol, okay, which determines the rules of construction of messages and antenna emissions. So, and in addition, these micro routers are responsible for translating the lower level signals produced by the micro sensors and micro node signals known as TS. Oh, okay. So those are, familiar with these kind of terminology. You guys, I guess you know what I'm talking about. I'm just learning all these things, trying to understand that. I'm not a mathematician and I'm not a scientist. I'm a yogi. I was introducing yoga to military, and they wanted to create robot out of me, right? I had a backlash, man in black, and I was tortured. So, okay. And all this kind of crazy initiation in the astral plane, and even SRA and so on. And I ended up also in hospital. I don't know what happened there. I ended up in I was diagnosed with schizophrenia. So it means if they cannot control you, right? Whether the elite, and under aliens, right? They need to destroy you. So But here we're continuing with our mission. So these are binary. Actually, they talk about the binary signals, right? Electrical pulses is the 0 and the silence with value 1. So value 1 and silence with value 0. Binary system. That's why they're keeping those the guys in dichotomy. And even people here in the United States, you know, we're in this duality that's been negatively polarized, right, by those negative aliens, by their nanobots, nanotechnology, and it's just done through all kind, you know, through all these interesting things. Now even to children and, you know, young adults or teenagers and so on. So this is not just military kind of case here that I'm introducing, right? But in military, it's been going on for decades, for a long time. And so that's why, right, from that binary, from that duality, right, how do we exit? Through Trinity structure, through 0 point, divine neutrality, right? Namaste, you know, God matrix, because, you know, what they want to separate us. They also want to separate or split, you know, these feminine energies, right, from the masculine energies. We represent both energies. That's why the transgender, this is how they make transhuman, transgender. They're also using hormones, right? And this is done through their technology, and it's pretty much messing up or they're splitting the protons and neutrons, right? And you know, it's done through frequency vibration, right? Low frequency, keeping us in extremely low frequency vibrations, all kinds of horrible chemicals and toxins, right, poisoning us, right? And you know, through the signals, the frequency, they're splitting these particles inside of us. They're splitting them apart, right? That's why they created the CERN. They have the HARP, and so this all needs to be arrested. It all needs to be stopped. All their horrible experimentations. So pretty much the death cult. I mean, there's the death cult. Those are the, you know, the family of the death cult, and the death camps, right? It pretty much never stopped. It just became more and more upgraded via AI. Okay, so and then we talk about the micro nano interface. Okay, those are hybrid device responsible for capturing the signals emitted from the outside and transmitting them inward, or performing the reverse process outward to emit data. And it passes through skin barrier. Okay, so which reduces the effectiveness of the emission. And what is it? It could be considered a repeater or signal amplifier. And anyway, there's all kinds of long transmission distance is not necessary either, you know. So this is lots of so it means when the nano interface, you need the nano interface, right? It goes through the skin, but it diminishes the effect, the signals. But if it's being repeated signal, right, like in the military, and also the mind control, and how they're constantly being abused and violated, their aura energy field is burned, and the subliminal messages and so on, right? You just become more of what they are making you to do. And then the negative ones, they are superimposing their karma upon those guys, right? And they're of course committing horrible crimes, but it's all being transferred on them via these transmissions, radio frequency, and through horrible abuse, violation, torture, and rape. It means which if they rape you, you have these you know, courts through the Moloch tank. There's the blood covenant. You have soul binding, right? And you are property of DARPA, of those black magicians of the high echelon, that of the controlling group, right? The Black Sun operation, the Belial group, and of course we talk about the Alpha Draconis, the Orion group. We talk about the Chimera group, the Archons, the Arachnoids, and also the negative Zetas, the negative Greys, and the Drax, and the what is it, also the Necromitons, Omicrons, right? So also has to do with the Visa system, Visa deck, Visa Drake. And so that's what, you know, here we talk about you know, the entire galactic war structure, how that operates. And of course you need a cell phone, they call it gateway. So the possible consequences of application of uses, right? So it's neurosurveillance. Okay, so and it can monitor your brain, right? In the what is it, the graphene oxide, of course, right? In the neural tissue would facilitate the monitoring of the brain activity and so on. And it's right? It's collecting lots of data, so it's sent to remote servers for automatic interpretation. And it's big data, machine learning techniques, so it would be possible to have a knowledge, so they have a knowledge of people's mood, thoughts, behaviors, right? You know, what kind of commercial you like, or what you like, or what kind of drinks, what kind of music you listen to, what kind of clothes you wear, what kind of car you would like to buy, right? So how come you have all these ads on your phone suddenly, right? You're talking about something, and now the phone is giving you solutions, right? So it's reading you, right? Also, the chat GPT is also very advanced. The AI, or like what is the artificial intelligence, right? That you can have app on your phone, and it's like I said, the AI is extremely highly advanced. It can overtake your consciousness if you're not doing inner work, spiritual work, transformational work, and if you're not mindful, right? If you're constantly under some kind of influence of drugs, alcohol, medication, and so on, you just then follow the signal, and they mold you into what the cabal, right, what the Illuminati, what the One World Order, the Dracos, they want you, right? The World Health Organization, or the World Economic Forum, right? They have this kind of technology that they're monitoring you, surveilling you. They know everything about you, about your heart rate, pulses, glucose, right, respiratory rate, that they know everything. And they have super quantum computers. Neuromodulation, right? So it involves the interaction of the human psyche through the electrical modulation, and so it is possible if the carbon nanotubes and graphene nanosheets in the neural tissue receive the appropriate electrical pulses, which will create electromagnetic currents that will alter the normal functioning of the brain, developing the desired behavior or mood or emotion, even thought. So it means that's how they're programming you, through neuromodulation, right? They have the carbon nanotubes, the hydrogel, the graphene oxide, right? The nanobots, nanotechnology, and not only that, they can use CRISPR technology. They can insert false memories into your DNA. And this is how you become psychopath. This is how you become terrorist. This is how you become robot. This is how you become cyborg. This is how you become automaton. Okay. So yeah, and so that's why it's so important to be mindful, spiritual, thankful, grateful, right? That's why lots of deprogramming, rewiring of their subconscious mind, very important. Asatoma, Sadgamaya, Tamasoma, Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma, Amritangamaya. The Sanskrit, the chanting just cuts through the mind control, okay? This is my experience. So taking this into account, artificial intelligence programs can be developed to redirect people's behavior and attitude to influence their life, work, and even economic decisions. And if they cannot control you, they can then they need to eliminate you, right? And what they do with these teenagers, or with those students in the universities, right? And all this shooting, what is happening, or the veterans, what is happening to those veterans, what happened to the young individuals then buying a gun and going on that roof of that building, right? And he just liked computers. Of course, he had all kinds of interesting reputation because at home the conditions were not well. All he wanted to play a football, and he ends up with totally his brain being shot, right? So because this is the satellites, the transmissions, the artificial intelligence, how we are being programmed, right? Especially those students. So many, I know in New York, they had to get at least 2 boom jabs. And this is what they're doing. That they are controlling you, controlling you from within, right? From within, and of course outside, within, outside and inside, right? So that's why it's so important to have your own spiritual practice. So neurostimulation, okay? So here's a neuromodulation, neurostimulation, right? Responsible for stimulating the segregation of neurotransmitters. And they are secreted as a result of synaptic communication between neurons, facilitating the transmission of messages, information, and signals throughout the central nervous system of the human body. So if it goes through the graphene oxide, right, it goes the nanobots, right, it goes through the or the nanobot sheets, right, go through the blood-brain barrier, and here we go, it can just hook to those neurotransmitters, right, and you know, through all these and totally disrupt the synaptic communication. They can disrupt the neurotransmitters, and that's how they can control your moods and your state of being and your thinking and everything. So and then what is it, the intracorporeal network with carbon nanotubes, graphene nanosheets in neural tissue could increase or decrease the secretion of these neurotransmitters, right? They're affecting signal transduction, emission, and reception. So they can bring false sensations of danger, right? So that's why we live in a computer simulation. That's the whole mind control. It's total illusion, virtual reality. Because now we need to go to war over there, right? So all this proxy war with proxy Israel, and they're keeping those guys in extremely low frequency vibration of military veterans, right, in total stress, right? But it's all pretty much being created. It's not natural to be like that. All this panic and all this pain, okay? And then they are sent to VA for another boom, 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 or for some drugs or medication, right? So that's why we're addressing it. And so their regulate is also the regulation of dopamine alone could cause neurodegenerative diseases, anxiety, depression, apathy, bipolar disorder. Yeah, they're being diagnosed. They're being diagnosed with bipolar disorder, psychotic attack, and so on, and other disorders. So this what happened to me. This is what happened. And now I know who was doing that, right? And what was this all about? What was behind it? So, and here's science. The interested regulation of dopamine would affect the reward system of people, affecting desire, pleasure, and conditioning. So this means of people affecting desire, pleasure. That means that there's a subliminal conditioned learning could be achieved, so that undesired behaviors for the elite, right, attitude could be channeled in people's bending. So it means they're torturing them, bending to certain behavior and attitudes, to a certain extent, the will and free will that characterizes a free. So they are bypassing the informed consent. So they're doing this without you really noticing it, right? Against your will, without your informed consent. They are bending, they are bypassing your will, and they're enslaving you. Dopamine could also excrete addiction, just like a drug, in such a way that very strong habits could be created according to the interest of third parties, so outside the will of the person who got this. Okay, and then they're connecting the people to AI. So when I say people are connected to AI, right, because through this, the nanobots, nanotechnology, and so on, they can exercise exhaustive control over human activity, health status, work performance, academia performance. So that's why in a sport, right? I don't know how this is in sports. So many of these individuals, right? They also got this kind of thing, and some of them, right, they got stronger through that AI, and some of them were dropping their bodies. And what is it? The measures and laws that are unpopular. So that's how they are constantly bypassing, right, the natural laws. They're bypassing our will, bypassing our informed consent, modulating us, controlling us, manipulating us, right? And then when you're mindful, when you're aware of it, right, like what in the world is going on, right? And if, like I said, they cannot really control you, they cannot perform all these tasks, then they need to get rid of you. So you're the character assassination, this kind of stuff. You're targeted individual electronic harassment to a 24/7 all the time for many years now. Okay, so this is my experience, and this is the revolution transhuman techno paradigm at a political, economic, social, and personal level. This is what they're facilitating with all these the agenda connecting humanity to AI. This is what they achieve, right? How they are measuring everything, modulating, censoring, programming, hybridizing, desecrating. Okay, they're using their artificial intelligence program, and they're redirecting people's behaviors, attitude, and they can, beautiful people, they can become homeless. I know. I was sleeping in my car. I mean, I experienced all kinds of things, guys, and then, oh, you're crazy, but oh, this is what I'm experiencing, this is how I'm feeling. Nobody would believe you, because people want physical evidence. You have to feel into people's heart. Plus, we need to learn these kind of things, so we have more understanding. There is consciousness, there's awareness, there's consciousness expansion is very important. That's how we are raising our frequency vibration, because we want everybody to be okay. But if we don't know that these things are happening, and it's been happening for a long time, but if we don't study this kind of material, we don't study ourselves, if we don't do the inner work, transformational work, right? So same things are happening, right? And same things are happening even in a worse and worse scenario. And people are like wondering what in the world is happening. Well, because we didn't learn what was 9/11 all about, how that was done, right? We didn't learn what really happened in Iraq and Afghanistan, how the same technology was used there as well for all the decades, for all these years, right? And then what happened, after that, let me see, you have the paradise in California, what happened in Hawaii, right? What again happened in Brooklyn or New York, and now what happened in Gaza, the same drones, directed energy weapons, the concert that was in happened in Israel, those musicians, right? They went to concert. What do you think? How do you think they lost their lives? It was all set. They were targeted through AI, through directed energy weapons. And especially that's what happens, especially when you get these things, probably you had to, right? When you travel and so on, you're an easy target. They just ignite those nanobots, nanotechnology, for the proper signal, right? And they're targeting your heart, your lungs, your brain, and voila. Okay. So this is what's been happening for a long time, and now in LA, right? So, and then of course the individuals, people, as we're our starseeds, we're like batteries for them. Okay, so they're using us as feedstock. So this is generating data to be recorded. So all kinds of data they're generating from us, right? They're recording it, evaluating, they're processing it for social, economic, scientific, and political use. And then they're using all this rhetoric against us or me, right? I know pretty much who is watching YouTube and not watching, unwatching it, and so on. And that's fine. That's fine. The thing is, what is happening, I want to make a very clear disclosure. I'm sharing my information through my experiences and through my soul signature, energy signature, through my operational system. How those individuals, right, that there are then either watching my videos, or how, guys, you are interpreting what I'm sharing with you becomes your world, your story. It becomes your reality, and what you do with it is your responsibility. Not somebody said this, somebody did that. This is how I see it. This is how I interpret it. These are my perceptions, and I'm being responsible for those perceptions. And if I want to change something, I first have to make those adjustments from within, not through force and target other people, or totally smear their reputation. So this is all going to divine justice, and justice will be served. Everybody's responsible. Everybody's here for their individual ascension, and remember, the cosmic, the galactic, the ascension, right? Everything happened. All's been set in those extremely high places, dimensions. The ancient of the ancient ones. The divine architects. The solar rishis, right? They've been here pretty much since December 20th, 2020. 2020, okay, 2021 for sure, and it's been 2022, and it's been it takes some time to kick in, to be more sensible, right? Those who are tuning into these energies, okay? So connection to Andromeda, to cosmos, it's now, if it's available, if you're tuning in. And so it means we're becoming source of information. So they're stealing information from us, right? I mean, they're stealing our resources, our energy, and they're polluting us, mind controlling us, damaging us, dumbing us down, desecrating us. And then they're plugging us into their AI through electronic implants, through nanobots, nanotechnology, hydrogel, through these holographic inserts, right? Those are alien technology that's in our aura energy field. And then they're making us something we are not, for them to be profitable for them, suitable for them, and to they feel good about themselves, that are implementing the new world order, one world order, become slaves of their agenda to comply. And if you cannot comply, you're not complying, they need to get rid of you, and you're a targeted individual. And they even want to determine success in your life, and they want to decide for your destiny. And of course the population reduction, right? So this is the intracorporeal network, right? Make it possible to know the value of each person, determine what part of the population should be eliminated. Voila. Yeah, it's all going to divine justice. Justice will be served. And they are denying spirituality. They are denying your freedom. They want to be they want to own you, right? Like you're their property. And they can eliminate you. Elimination. The intracorporeal network can not only operate in the neural environment, but also in the cardiovascular system, and especially in the heart. If the right signals are received, an artificial alteration in the heart rhythm could be triggered, which would trigger arrhythmia and henceforth heart attack. Electric shock to the brain tissue at the right intensity in the right location could cause fainting, loss of balance, unconsciousness, with the attendant danger to the person. Therefore, based on the bidirectionality stated in the literature on intracorporeal network, it is not unreasonable to think that signals could also be received that could trigger the disorders and conditions that lead to the elimination of the person. This ability to be able to eliminate a person who is either unprofitable in the New World Order, or who does not accept the approaches desired by the elite, or who is part of the dissidents or opposition, is extremely clean and leaves no traces of the crime, and is particularly effective in maintaining control and power over the population. So silent weapons, the secrecy, right? The silent wars that's been being waged over population for a long time. That's why that there was the 3 waves of star seeds coming here, because we work with energy, we work with sound, light, frequency, vibration, right? There are star seeds, indigo warriors, light workers, or highly advanced souls here, volunteer souls, and also children, right? The new generation, they're already being born with the new etheric DNA, with the new etheric structure, and so on, for the new earth, right? So we can download more information, we perceive more information, and it's very important to take time for ourselves, to meditate, to calm down, to breathe, right? To really reflect, to contemplate, to dive deep within, right? To make sense out of this, and to keep our sanity 100%, right? Protection for so important. So the 12D protocol, right? I have the Ascension protocol. I have for my cell group is from the Guardians Crystal Star family. Is very important, guys. This is like hygiene, like people do physical hygiene, I do energy hygiene, the inner work, transformational work, spiritual work. Here it's must in these very interesting, challenging times, right? And it's all about the frequency, vibration. It's all about going back to basics, dive deep within our hearts, call upon our souls, become the soul embodied personalities. And that's how we're moving forward, right? With our projects, helping each other, knowing who we truly are, embracing our gifts and talents, and then sharing with the world, okay, the best way we can. Many blessings and namaste. I'll talk to you next time. Bye bye.